Welcome to the Business Finance Bulletin, episode 293. Welcome again to the latest Business Finance Bulletin. With me, Rob Warlow from Business Loan Services, the commercial finance experts. In this bulletin, government announces changes to insolvency law to aid post-COVID recovery, why you need to establish business viability when applying for CBILS, and planning ahead in advance of another credit crunch. Well, here I'm again with a bulletin exclusively focused on the impact of the coronavirus. Now, I want to start this week's bulletin by taking a look at a government announcement last week about changes to the Insolvency Act, particularly around the temporary removal of the concept of wrongful trading. Now, this is designed to remove directors' personal liability and help the economy kind of recover post-COVID. But first of all, what is wrongful trading? Well, it was laid down in the Insolvency Act of 1986, and basically, wrongful trading is where directors or businesses knowingly continue trading when they are insolvent or enter into new credit or borrowing arrangements, knowing that the chances of them being able to pay on that debt are next to zero. So obviously this means now in the current environment, many businesses could be accused of wrongful trading, i.e. they already may be insolvent or are entering into obligations where they're not really 100% convinced that they could honour those obligations. Now, under wrongful trading, directors can be held personally liable. So, of course, it's a big risk for business owners at the moment. Should I be kind of moving my business forward by accepting credit terms if I know I really am insolvent as of today? Well, the proposal now removes that concept of wrongful trading, which it means that directors can now safely run their business. The idea, of course, is to make sure that businesses aren't forced into insolvency unnecessarily and therefore damaging any post-COVID recovery. So there's a really good move from the government there to provide reassurance to business owners in the current environment. Also, the changes have given some protection to businesses that are going through a restructuring program at the moment where they need time. So changes have been made where creditors can now no longer push for administration or receivership. They have to sit back and wait for the outcome of any restructuring. Again, it just gives some kind of comfort to directors. Now, these changes are going to be retrospective with effect from the beginning of March. However, it doesn't really absolve you of your responsibility to make sure that you take the correct advice. So if you are worried about the future of your business, it always pays to take advice from professionals such as your accountant or an insolvency practitioner, just to make sure that you are actually taking the right steps. In one of my recent bulletins, I took a more in-depth look at the coronavirus business interruption loan scheme, particularly around the issue of establishing viability, which is a core part of this new loan support scheme. Now, following that, I had an email from a manager at a high street bank who actually said this is spot on. They are seeing requests from businesses that were not viable even before the coronavirus impact, and therefore they cannot help. And he pleaded business owners to understand that if you've got an unviable business, they won't be able to support you under this scheme. So I'm going to have a look at this issue of viability in a bit more depth. Well, first of all, if you are thinking of applying for the scheme, you've got to place yourself in the context of, if I applied to my bank in, say, December 2019, would they have said yes? If the bank would have said yes to a finance request, then the chances are that you will be successfully applying for a loan. However, if the bank had said no, then the chances of you getting a loan under this scheme are practically zero. You are not deemed to be viable. So what can you do to prove viability if you want to access the CBILS scheme? Well, first of all, you've obviously got to be running a profitable business. So make sure you've got your 2019 accounts up to date and ready to go and hopefully showing profits. Your bank account should have been running well with no unpaids. So that's the historic position. Looking at your business today when you apply, you've got to make sure that you outline all the steps you've taken so far to protect your business. Have you shortened hours? Have you put them on some of your workers on furlough, for example? And also, you've got to say what your business is going to look like going forward. What changes perhaps are you going to make to your business model to ensure it continues to be viable? All of this is wrapped up around latest management accounts and also having a cash flow forecast as well. So it's really important that you understand if you had a business that was not viable before coronavirus broke out, you are unlikely to be successful under this scheme. You need to do whatever you can to show you've got a business that is going to be here in the next couple of years. To close this bulletin, I want to take a look at the issue of planning ahead when it comes to raising finance. Now, I've had a number of conversations with business owners over the last week or two, and some of them are really quite blasé about the idea of raising finance. They're saying, we're okay now, we'll have a look at it again in another couple of months. Unfortunately, they're missing the point. There are a couple of things that are going on in the marketplace that you need to be aware of. First of all, there are lenders that are essentially shutting up shop. They are saying that they are very uncertain about the current environment and they have stopped accepting new applications. Now, there's a few at the moment, but who knows, that could snowball over the next month or so. Also, we're beginning to see a long lead-in time from applications being submitted to getting the answers back and the funds being released. So there's more due diligence going on. So previously, while you could have expected a reasonably quick turnaround from some lenders, they are now taking longer. We've also got the issue, of course, of volumes. Already the high street banks say that they are inundated in requests, so it's taking longer just to turn around an application. So if you are thinking that you're going to be in need of finance, my advice is plan ahead and do it now, even if you don't actually need the money today. My concern is that we could be heading for another credit crunch. There are lots of things going on in the global finance market, which kind of suggests that there's a very big debt bubble out there that could be set to burst, and we could see the onset of another credit crunch. So if you need finance in the future, my advice, do it now. Well, that's it for another bulletin. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a like and a share. So that's it. Look forward to being with you again next time. In the meantime, have a safe and profitable week.